Hello, everyone. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about ITL corruptions and regional settings. In ORD 1008 and previous releases, whenever you saved an ITL file, it would be saved using whatever decimal separator was set in your user's computer as part of the regional settings. So if you had your decimal setting set to a dot separator, that's how it would be saved, with a dot. You can see on the screen there if you saved it where your regional settings were set to a comma separator, then the ITL would be saved with a comma. Now, it could cause issues if you had an ITL that was saved, let's say, on one computer that used a comma as a decimal separator, and then you turned around and you loaded that same ITL file on another computer that used a dot as the decimal separator. So as long as the separator in the regional settings matched what was in the ITL file, you were fine. But if you ever got a mismatch, you would kind of see what we'd call flattening of the templates. It was unable to read the proper settings. And if you save the file while it was in that state, it would cause an ITL corruption. So let's just take a quick look at how this works in real time. So I'm going to go to my regional settings here, and notice I'm going to set the decimal symbol to a comma, and I'm going to set the digit grouping to a period or a dot. And I'm going to go in and open Roadway Designer. Now once we're in there, I'm going to go open the Create Template application, and I'm going to open an older ITL that was saved with commas inside the ITL. So you'll notice the ITL was saved with commas. I've got commas set as my regional setting, and everything works fine. Now let's go change the regional setting to use a period as the decimal separator, and let's change it to use a comma as the digit grouping symbol. Now let's apply those and open Roadway Designer once again. And when we do, we'll again open that same template library, which is still, again, using the commas inside of it, and you'll notice immediately that we've got problems, that the templates have been unable to kind of rectify the values and they flatten out. And as I mentioned, if you save it in this state, you can corrupt the ITL. So what we did in order to rectify this is in version 1009 and later releases, the ITL file will always be saved with a dot or a period regardless of your computer settings. So that way you can move it from computer to computer and you won't have any problems. So it's always saved with a dot, but I want you to keep in mind this doesn't prohibit users from employing either setting. So if you've got your setting set to a comma, as long as you're in the Create Template dialog, it will display commas. It will allow you to input using commas. It's only going to save it as a period. The same thing if your regional settings are used as a dot. The dialog while you're in there is going to display dots. It's going to allow input using dots, and as I said, it will save as a dot. Now, if you've got older ITL files back from say 10.8 or older, it's highly recommended that you go ahead and save those or resave those with a dot separator. So in other words, you may have some older IT files that were saved with a comma. We would definitely highly recommend that you go ahead, load those up, and resave them so that they use the dot separator. It's a pretty simple process. With ORD closed, go ahead and go to your regional settings and set your comma as the decimal symbol and the dot as the digit grouping separator. That's important to make sure the ITL file loads correctly. After you've applied your changes, you just start ORD, load the ITL file, and save it. And then we'd suggest closing ORD. Now, from that point on, you're welcome to use either the comma or the dot as your decimal setting, and the ITL will behave correctly. So let's one more time just take a kind of a look at how this works. I'm going to go to my regional settings here. And remember, I'm wanting to resave one that's saved with a comma. So I want my decimal setting to be comma, my digit grouping to be a period. So we're going to say OK and apply those changes. Let's go open Roadway Designer. Once we're in there, we open the Create Template application. We open our older ITL that was saved with commas originally. You can see everything looks perfectly fine. I'm going to resave this just by doing a file save or a file save as if you'd like to create a newer copy. And so we'll just go ahead and save that as it is, and you can see that has been saved. Now, just to show that this functions properly, we'll go ahead and go back to our regional settings. We will go into our addition settings and we will change our we'll actually leave our decimal symbols as commas for the time being. We'll come in. Now remember, we resaved it with a dot, but now I've got my decimals set to comma. Notice I open it up and it has no problem with it whatsoever. So even though there's a quote mismatch between my settings and what's in the ITL, it will not have a problem with that. For those that prefer to run with a dot, you can see here I can just change it to a dot and a comma as we've done previously. We'll say OK and apply that. We'll open Rows Designer for one final time, and if we go and look and load our same template library, you can see that no matter what our regional settings are set to, the template library will now operate appropriately. So I hope this helps you if you have any issues like this, and have a great day.